And we're live.
We're live. Oh man, we go again.
Yep, here we go.
So tonight we're at Compassion United Methodist Church in Ocala, Florida. And go ahead.
Where we believe in embodying the love and compassion of Jesus Christ. It's our mission statement.
Oh boy, you just turned half the people just shut this down.
I'm sorry. You don't think the cross in the background does that?
Yeah, that might be a tip. That might be a giveaway.
Stick around. The ride has just
We always talk about, this is live, and just like live things go sideways, and Jill and I always say if it goes off the rails, it goes off the rails.
But there is a parental advisory. I made sure to attach that to the description tonight.
Oh,
I'm not sure what this guy's going to say.
Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. We just met him like 3 minutes now.
Jill knows I say a lot of things out of pocket, a pretty good bit.
That's
so
okay. Lots of wisdom.
And since his voice is a recovery, one of the questions I asked right away is, at what point in your life, what was that moment of clarity? What was that one thing that you thought about and said, hey man, I just can't do this anymore. I got to do something with my life.
Well, from a very young age, I kind of planned doing live life my entire life. Like I was never one that had a problem admitting that I had an issue with it. I loved the life for a long time, and it was up and down. And then finally it got to the point where like my life was completely unmanageable and I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't keep I lost absolutely everything before I went to rehab. And it was that being faced with homelessness on a second time, and just, of course I had burned every bridge in my life, and finally just decided to give it a shot. And it's been the best choice I've ever made.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, it wasn't, I talked about this with the guys from House of Oak the other day, and they were all sitting there and they had all relapsed. None of them, the recommended method is, you get clean and sober, stay clean and sober, and you never go back. That's not my story, certainly. How did it work for you? Did you have periods of brief sobriety where you tried to do it yourself?
No, I joke about the cleanest that I've ever been in my life was when I was drinking. Like I had and doing several other drugs, but I didn't have the chains of opiates on for about 2 years. And I've been addicted to opiates for as long as I can remember. So, not waking up sick every morning without it was the best sobriety that I ever had. And so this is my first time learning anything about recovery, was when I went into rehab. And I have stayed locked into it ever since. I spend a lot of time with different AA meetings. I am a hardcore drug addict. Alcohol was never really a big issue of mine. I wouldn't be a big one to turn it down or anything. And I don't know, I found myself being more at home at AA. I don't know why. I went to AA and NA for a long time, and I just migrated more to AA for some reason. But I do that, going to the rehabs. Our church is very recovery based. So,
are you at St. Mark's? Is that where you?
I go to both of them.
Okay.
Go to both of them. But yeah, St. Mark's is where I started. St. Mark's was one of the churches they would take us to in rehab. And I'm not going to put the other church on blast. And it's nothing that the other church did that kind of turned me away from them. But we'd go to another church one week, and we'd go to St. Mark's. And it was the week of Christmas. And the guy's up there, and he's doing his preaching. And he's like, I'm going to tell you, I got in a little trouble this week. And I remember I turned to the guy next to me. I said, I got a damn good feeling his definition of trouble and mine are a little bit different from each other. So
exactly.
he goes on, and he's saying that his wife found a Christmas sweater that he never wore. And I was like, oh, go to hell. And then I come to St. Mark's.
Here's the disclaimer. If that was you, we apologize.
I get it.
I don't, because that reaches some people. That reaches some people. But like somebody with my background, I want to see the work that God and Jesus has done in my life. You know what I mean? Like I was hit in a powerful way. And when I came to St. Mark's, and I think one of the first stories I heard of somebody being there was, I got in a drunk driving accident, killed my best friend and a family. You know what I mean? And I found Jesus in jail. And, you know, he had an incredibly powerful message. And, like, you could see that fire in his eyes for it. It's like, all right, I'll listen to what this guy's got to say.
Right, right.
And so, like, I kind of found my spot here and been a pretty consistent member ever since, I'd say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a question for you.
Okay.
You know, a lot of what I hear in the rooms is that, you know, recovery can sometimes be boring, right? Compared to the lifestyle that we all led before. And what I heard you say in the beginning was you had no intentions of quitting, right? It was an entertaining life. You were always on the go. So what keeps you sober? What keeps you going?
That's a big thing that I talk to people that are coming into recovery, because one thing I found is that the recovery community is always doing stuff, man, whether it's beach trips or tubing trips, or they're going to Disney World, or you know, camping trips, whatever. You know, there's always something going on. And I have got like the weirdest group of friends. You would never think that they would go together. Like, I promise you.
I agree with you. You do.
You could not pick them out of a lineup.
I'm with you.
Love them dearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say they're great. We have an absolute blast together. And I got one guy that I'm just pretty sure he's just completely burned out, and he is still high just from everything that he did before. People are always asking, like, what are you on? And he's like, life, man. He's like, I'm out here raw dogging life. But he's great, man. Actually, he just moved away at the first of the year to take another job opportunity. So it's kind of sad, but
It's amazing though, because I feel like that I spent so much time running around and sitting on a bar stool, and then when I got clean and sober, I was thinking, man, what am I going to do? Is this what I'm going to do? And now I have time in the day.
Yeah.
You know, when you start, because then you start getting a hold of the message, well, how am I going to keep this? Well, I give it away. You start getting involved in that community. You know, how can I serve? How can I pull somebody else up?
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't become about yourself anymore. But that's really how we maintain our sobriety, just like you were saying. You know, when you're talking to people coming on the program, that's how we maintain it. And that's why I go over there and, you know, talk to those guys and sit there, because I remember, it seems like yesterday I was sitting there just thinking, God, please let me get sober. God, please let me get sober. And I get the AA and NA analogy too, because I used to go to NA meetings, and, you know, there's some in San Diego at Salvation Army. And it just seemed like if somebody had a year in NA, they were like a guru. And then you'd go to an AA meeting and guys, I got 48 years. And you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You know, that's just, the sobriety seemed a little bit more, you know, present, let's say.
That's one of the things that drew me to. There's several different things. Because I went through Open Arms, and for anybody that doesn't know, that is a kind of a halfway house situation. I don't know. I'd say it's a mix between a halfway house and a rehab. You know,
Sober living.
Yeah. I would say, but you've got a little bit more on you now. You got a little bit more
Absolutely.
guidance.
It's programming.
And but I went through it, and they have AA and NA on site pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of noticed the same thing. Like the long years of it, the people that were, you know, and I still go to NA just to see some of the friends, but like it's very rare. And I don't know. I just found my little niche. I found the group that I locked in with.
Well, I always identify, you know, when I go to meetings, a lot of times, you know, you go to an AA meeting, and back in the day, you didn't talk about drugs in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. They'd toss your ass out. I mean, it was real.
There's still some groups like that today.
Yeah, well, you know, the groups that I go to, I always identify myself as alcohol. I'm high, I'm Randy, I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, because I don't ever want to forget that.
Right.
Right.
You know, the drugs led me to alcohol. That was my drug of choice, but I don't ever want to forget, just like, you know, I've seen people in Narcotics Anonymous never quite draw the line with alcohol, and then before you know it, they're drinking and then they're using it. So it's really, a drug's a drug.
That's right.
You know,
Absence from all mind-altering drugs is the key.
You know, and I think that may have been one thing with NA. They seem to be more upset if you say alcohol, you know, that you're an alcoholic. And which I'll be the first one to get on somebody's ass in NA or AA. If somebody is, you know, identifying as the other one, dude, just be glad they're here.
Exactly.
Right.
What
a
I
mean
mean?
is a meeting, right? We need to be in a meeting, and I know that there are,
you know, wherever it works best for you, man.
Yeah.
Find it work.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. I almost feel like I'm giving some people resentment because they know that I'm a major drug. You know, fentanyl, meth, heroin. That's my demons.
It's your wheelhouse.
Mhm.
Your DOC.
And, but I don't know. I found my spot. It works, and I can't afford
Yeah.
to find out if it doesn't. So I just stay there.
Well, I want to publicly tell you that Mike and I have watched you from day one, and the change, the transformation that has taken place in you. I could say that yes, that's who you are, that's your character, but I also know it's the things that you have done and that you have put your mind to getting it done. We just had this conversation, right? Like when you put your mind to something, it can be done, and you have chased this life like you chased the drugs.
Oh, exactly.
And you put that kind of energy and effort into it.
Another thing that I was going to touch on earlier, like we were talking about, like the way you look at things in life, man, I've gone through a ton of stuff in my recovery, losing people very close to me, family members, people that are in the program. I've lost a pretty good bit of money a couple times in it. I've actually even been homeless in recovery once. And I use that term loosely. I was working on getting my pilot's license, and I moved back home for like a couple of weeks, and I realized that I was going to end up relapsing if I stayed there. So I ended up pulling the ripcord back to there. And
some people told you not to leave, didn't we?
Look.
Let's just make that publicly known.
Yeah, they did. They tried to talk to me out of it. But,
so pilot's license isn't something you'd have been doing while you were using.
Oh, no. Well, and that was like one thing.
Flying high, maybe, but not like that.
The amazing things we do. It's unbelievable.
And yeah, I'm working on figuring out another route of getting that now over here. If I would have stayed on that route, I would have ended up relapsing. I'm pretty confident. So.
Yeah. What I love about that, Nick, is that I remember during that time with you having the conversation with Mike that now there's this whole world that's opened up to you that had never been opened up before, right? Possibilities. And that's what recovery really brings. It brings a new hope and possibilities.
Oh, it's incredible. I'll never forget my sponsor told me one time, he goes, there is nothing that you can't do. He said, except two things, drink and use. He goes, think of all the things that are available to you. And at the time I was like, just shut up. But really, I mean, the things that have been accomplished in sobriety, they're amazing. Yeah. And they're open for everybody that wants to get clean and sober, really.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to touch on. I think one of the biggest things that helps me is the outlook that I have on things. Because as long as I don't pick up a drink or a drug, man, I won that day. Yep. Whether my world is burning down, I always remember I've been through worse. You know what I mean? I can navigate the situation and we can be back on top. Where it'll all go down is if I decide to pick back up again.
Yeah,
I don't think I got another recovery in me. I don't want to take that chance. I just don't think I could fight back again.
The world isn't the same today.
No.
The stuff that's out there is not the same.
No.
I mean, we just had a guy at Christmas time, walked out of rehab, hadn't even been out for 2 weeks, and overdosed.
He was actually in detox with me 2 years ago. He was my roommate in detox. And then he relapsed. He went back into rehab and then came back out, relapsed again. He's gone now.
Yeah. I think of guys all the time that have been through the house that have relapsed and they're no longer here. So did you just celebrate 2 years?
November 6th, I celebrated 2 years.
That's awesome.
And
life's a little different, huh?
Way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
He just got engaged at Christmas time.
Wow.
Yep, just got engaged.
Well, you waited till after a year. You're listening to somebody.
Yeah. His fiance is actually our worship leader here. She does music here and at St. Mark's. They make breakfast every Sunday morning, both of them together for the whole group.
That's awesome.
Serving in the church in many different capacities and just keep really plugged in.
Yeah, we still do some of our own separate recovery. She goes to some of the all women's thing. I go to some of the all men's thing.
As you should.
And but usually we do everything together.
Yeah.
She's my best friend. We have a lot of fun together.
Right.
And
awesome.
And I think also between, and I think the program has, and I think AA and NA is just kind of just a guide for you to find God. You know what I mean? A lot of people sugarcoat it, or they're so turned off from it, but it is what it is. Living by the principles in the big book or in the Bible, man, your relationships will be healthier. I don't know, you have a different light in your life.
It's still a program of spirituality.
Yeah. And we've talked about that, right? The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous is designed to help you find God. Now, and for some people, we've talked about this too. For some people, that's good enough. They go to meetings. They don't go any further than that. They've got this power that's greater than themselves. They've got this understanding. That's good. And for me, you, and apparently Nick, it's not enough. We found that, and we're like, okay, well, what's that about? So I go back to kind of the childhood, learnings that I had, teachings in the Methodist Church, and started reviewing that again, and just got even a better relationship than I expected. I mean, I was not expecting what happened to me to happen, but again, it's okay if you just go to meetings with drinking and using. Look, your life's automatically going to get better.
Absolutely.
I mean, the first day you wake up and realize you're in the house you're supposed to be in, and your car's not crashed outside, and the person you turn over to is the person you're supposed to be with, and all those things, and you don't have to play wallet peekaboo because you spent all your money, it's immediately better. So if you find that power to rocket you into the next dimension, that's what happens. And it's really great because
and it works if you work it, right?
Yeah, and I'll say, like you were touching base on, I know plenty of people that work a program. I know plenty of people that don't, that have just put down the drugs and really don't do anything. That might work for a couple of people. I know people that just go to meetings and that have got a little bit of time. But I would say the people that really have that light, the ones that I see that I'm like, that's something that this one's different right here. And that's what it always seems to be. That's what the sauce of what I always see it breaking down to. And
it's work. I mean, it's work. When you start walking through those steps, and you got to write those things down, own them, make amends, do those things that you have to do in your life. I really think that kind of propels you into a different life. It just takes the weight of the world off your shoulders. It's no longer, it's kind of, today I can kind of like, hey, I need some help, take this, and we have an understanding.
For me, I needed a group of people so that I didn't feel isolated and alone. Like I wasn't a bad person, right? Like in my mind, I can dwell on that shame and that guilt and all of the many things that I've done. But when I get into a group of people and I hear other people's stories and I hear their experience, strength, and hope, I'm not different, right? I'm not an anomaly.
Right.
I'm just another bum on the bus.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're sharing a footstep with somebody and you're telling them all this stuff, thinking it's so overwhelming. And then, and somebody described it great the other night at the meeting. They said, he goes, I was pouring my guts out to my sponsor and I'm telling him all this stuff. And we're drinking coffee. And he goes, hey, you mind passing the sugar? And he goes, I wanted to rip that guy's head off. And he goes, that's how insignificant my story really was. Like I thought I was something like, we haven't invented anything, by the way.
No.
People have done this. And that was the relief kind of like, because he told me some stuff after, and I'm like, wow.
But we think we're terminally unique somehow,
Yes.
No. I remember my sponsor laughing at me when I said, you're not going to believe what I have to tell you.
I'm pretty sure I am.
She thought it was funny.
Yeah, try me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
So.
Well,
thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate all that you do for this community.
I appreciate all y'all do for this community.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be a part of it, an honor to be a part of it. And, y'all know I'm glad to help out whenever I can and help spread this message.
We're glad to have you here tonight. That's for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm going to go run a meeting now. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. So that wraps up that podcast.
Yeah, that was
another good one.
That was great.
I love it.
It was absolutely wonderful.
Well, until next time, Voices of Recovery signing off.
Parental Advisory went well. Have a good night.